You are going to be able to get double XP across all game modes that offer experience. Of course, you need an internet connection although, and keep in mind that if you complete a goal or a program, completing the goal or program does not give you double the experience for the completion goal. Instead, it gives you the base value. Double XP only applies to gameplay. Step 1 of finishing the Faces of the Franchise program is going to be Ballplayer. If you already have one created, then just load into that Ballplayer. If not, as soon as you press the top left in the MLB The Show home screen, it should prompt you to create one. Choosing a playstyle is usually one of the most important features of creating a Ballplayer, and that is because whatever playstyle you select is gonna carry over to Diamond Dynasty. Usually in Diamond Dynasty, the best positions to go ahead and make a created player for is either catcher or shortstop, so I would highly suggest going the position player route. Next is going to be selecting your archetype. When you're selecting your archetype, you want to be very careful because this is going to dictate the base attributes for your Ballplayer. Another thing you want to be very careful is of maxing out each and every single archetype in order to finish the Faces of the Franchise program, and that is because in this MLB The Show, each and every single archetype is shared across each Ballplayer and is shared on your account. So if you were to create a second contact one, it would have the same progress as the original Ballplayer you have, so you can only max each and every single one once. So you want to make sure you save some archetypes for later on when other featured programs come out and there are better rewards and you want to get to them quick. Now, to me, the most ideal archetype to go with is going to be Contact because there are a ton of equipment that can go ahead and help your power attributes out. When it comes to selecting the fielding position, I already said catcher and shortstop are your ideal two positions to go ahead and create a Ballplayer. Support the channel for free by hitting that like button, red subscribe button, notification bell, and checking out the Twitch and Discord inside the description. We stream every day at 10 p.m. East. Once your Ballplayer is created, you will start off with a bronze loadout. In order to see the missions, you will look at the bottom left and it will tell you what to toggle in order to see the missions. You go ahead and press that, and then you go down and it will tell you the Road to the Show missions that you need to complete in order to earn program points to scale in terms of the archetype. Once you have maxed out the archetype, you have to go into your packs, open up that silver archetype pack, and then go ahead and load that silver archetype where this bronze one currently is. Once you do that, it will refresh all the Road to the Show missions and the archetype progress. Now for the silver archetype, and you do the same thing. You press the same button in order to see the missions and the progress whenever you want to. Before you even hop into a game, you want to go ahead and make sure that you put on every single piece of equipment available for your Ballplayer because it raises the Ballplayer's attributes. After the equipment, you want to make sure that you equip whichever perks you have available for you. Just know that perks go ahead and affect your attributes. It could affect them positively or negatively. Some of them, they affect them both positively and negatively because you need to make some sacrifices in order to get certain attributes raised. Keep in mind although, as you continue to level your archetype, more perk slots will be available. To see your player's base attributes, you go ahead and just select that 56 overall or whatever overall you are player card, and it will show you your current player's attributes. Now your perks will go ahead and affect your attributes directly. So you see where it says 60, 60, 50, 50. If I had on perks that would increase my power but decrease my contact, let's say it would increase my power by 5 and decrease my contact by 3, you would see 55 power against both sides and then 57 contact against both sides. Equipment on the other hand doesn't directly affect the attributes until you are inside of a game. That's why it says plus 19 above contact. Despite me having a base attribute of 60 contact, once I'm inside of a game, I actually have 79 contact. Last thing to say, your base attributes do not carry on over from Ballplayer to Ballplayer, so you want to make sure whichever Ballplayer you're about to grind out in order to get XP and level up in general, you want to make sure that that Ballplayer is the one you're planning on taking over to Diamond Dynasty. You can increase each attribute to 20 points from their base attributes. So I can increase my contact to 80 contact, but once I get to 80 contact, it will be capped unless I have certain perks on, and then with the equipment, I'll be able to get as high as I possibly could. When it comes to taking your Ballplayer to Diamond Dynasty, you want to make sure you activate before you leave that Ballplayer screen, so that player is going to appear instantly at the position, and then you select the loadout once you select the player. Once inside Diamond Dynasty, you go to whichever primary position your ball player plays, and there you select your ball player, you select the loadout as well. Now, despite it showing different attributes for my contact and power, and when I press the player card it shows 30 base attributes, that is not the case. In order to see your ball player's true attributes, we have to go to single player modes. We go to play versus CPU and we select the Orioles. It doesn't matter which team you select, whichever stadium, whichever pitcher. You just hover down to your ball player, and then in the top right it will show you the true attributes with equipment, perks, and you leveling up the base attributes of your ball player inside of the actual game of Diamond Dynasty. Now, before I even enter Road to the Show with that ball player, I would highly suggest going into the settings section. I would go and select the 3 dots and then press save as new preset. I'd create it from the current because these are your default settings, and once I have done that, I will rename the new settings that it puts me in RTTS. Once you have renamed it, you go into gameplay and you make sure that you just change the hitting difficulty to beginner, you change the pitching difficulty to beginner, and then these are my preferred settings for fielding. I like using button accuracy for both. In terms of presentation, I do not want any pitch selection cameras on. And then in terms of mode specific, we want to skip to next appearance. We do not want showtime opportunities, and then we only want to base run whenever we are the lead runner, and we want all fielding opportunities in order to work on fielding missions as well. But if you don't want to work on the fielding missions, then you go ahead and change this to none. If you don't want to work on the stealing missions, then you go ahead and change this to none as well. Before you leave, it will ask you if you want to use these as default, and you're gonna press yes, so you can stay in your Road to the Show settings as you go play Road to the Show. Now we're ready to enter Road to the Show. I would highly suggest pressing the More Options tab so you don't enter a ball player you have already created, and I would start new, select that one ball player that you're looking to take into Diamond Dynasty eventually, and select that one archetype that you do not have maxed out yet. A lot of people suggest using created stadiums or even 1 overall rosters. I decide to go against it because I like hitting doubles and triples. It helps me out a lot more in terms of speed, as well as being able to face lefties and righties. Despite the 1 overalls having lefties and righties, you're on beginner difficulty and it's extremely easy to hit regardless of your opponent's hit per 9. Once you have finished your season, there currently is a bug that doesn't allow you to go ahead and play your second season. So I would just create a new save file, delete the previous one, and then rinse and repeat until that archetype is finished. But you most likely won't finish a full season without that archetype being finished. The second best method of completing the Faces of the Franchise program in terms of XP is going to be analyzing your featured program and analyzing your other programs. When I say analyzing, I'm talking about week 1, week 2, and week 3. There are tons of gameplay missions for you to go ahead and do, and they require certain players either from certain divisions or certain players from certain packs that you are able to obtain throughout the featured program. I'm talking about the flashbacks and legends. Other programs tab offers the same features. The majority of these programs have parallel XP missions for you to go ahead and do. So what is my suggestion? You see how many players, or which players in specific, can go ahead and tackle numerous of these parallel XP missions all at once, and I would take all of these players into Conquest and mini seasons. The reason you want to take them to Conquest is because there are hidden rewards within each and every single Conquest map, and the Conquest maps, once completed, they will also net you 30,000 experience in completion, not doubled because the goal is not doubled. And I also have guides to each and every single Conquest that you can find inside the Conquest playlist. If you do not want to play Conquest, although, mini seasons is also a great way to grind parallel XP missions by playing on rookie difficulty, and just like Conquest, it has a ton of goals for you to go ahead and complete each and every season in order to get XP, but I think Conquest is going to be a lot faster. Now, if you're done with all Conquest maps and you do not want to play mini seasons, then go ahead and grind your parallel XP inside the mystery map, as you get 5 standard packs each and every single time you complete this map. Support the channel for free by hitting that like button, red subscribe button, notification bell, and checking out the Twitch and Discord inside the description. We stream every day at 10 p.m. East. If you cannot stand offline gameplay anymore and want to play online, then the best place to go ahead and complete these parallel XP missions would be events. You can use any hitters, so unfortunately the only ones you wouldn't be able to complete complete are any parallel XP missions with pitchers, unless you're using certain common pitchers from whichever teams or divisions you need parallel XP missions for, but for the legends and flashbacks you wouldn't be able to complete it. But it's perfect regardless, because you're facing common players and you're playing with those high overall cards in order to go ahead and hit dingers at Coors Field and get yourself that XP to finish the Faces of the Franchise program.